All right, hello and welcome to day 2 of Skill 1. So you're going to watch this video and do some work on the sheet labeled Fraction Story Problems, Module 1, Session 3. And then there'll be a second video for you to work on this worksheet. And again, when I look at your work, I shouldn't necessarily see any mistakes. And the reason I shouldn't see, I should see corrections if I see mistakes, because there's going to be a video of me doing the work. And so as you're working, if it doesn't make sense, your responsibility then is to do what? Is to stop everything and come find me. I'm there, I'm walking around, talk to me. All right, cool. Here we go. All right, so we're going to start off. I'm going to give you a couple whole number by fraction multiplication. I encourage you to go back to the page that we did yesterday so that you have your strategies there. And I want you to think about what would be the best strategy to use. So the problem is 6 times 1/4. So go ahead and think about that. You can pause it, talk to someone you're working with, whatever you want to do. What should we do with 6 times 1/4? All right, so hopefully you looked at your poster, your mini poster that we made yesterday, and maybe the first instinct was, well, I could do half and half, right? When we do have a quarter, I can make 6, I can do 6 divided by 2, which is 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5. That was one way you could do it. You could do repeated addition, right? To get 6 over 4, which is 1.5 or 1 2/4. What was another way? I guess you could think about like quarters if you knew American money well. And like 4 quarters is $1, and then another 2 quarters is half of $1. So any of those strategies work well. Any of the strategies we went over yesterday would be fine. All right, so we have 6, and here, let's do this one. What about 6 times 3/4? What is that going to be? All right, well, hopefully the first thing that you notice is we could use what we got, that 1.5, because we have 3 of those here, because this is 6 times 1/4, and then 3 times. And we already have this answer of 1.5, so that would be 1.5 3 times, which would be what, 4.25? Did I get that right? Let's think about that. So we have 6 times 1/4 times 3, and we already know 6 times 1/4 is 6/4. We're doing that 3 times, which is equal to 18/4, or 4. Oh, I said 1/4, didn't I? 4.5. Yeah, 4.5 makes way more sense than 4.25. I'm gonna sneeze. All right. So before we move on, I want to take a look at, so we had 6 times 1/4, and that equal to 1.5. 6 times 3/4 equals 4.5. And 6 times 4, that equals 24. So I want you to do something. We have 6 in each of these problems, and then we're multiplying by 1/4, by 3/4, and by 4. I want you to take a look at the answer of each of our problems and then compare it to the 6. What do you notice? Well, what you should have noticed is that any time that we multiplied by a fraction, something less than 1, our answer was less than 6. 1.5 is less than 6. 4.5 is less than 6. But then when we multiplied by something greater than 1, our answer became more than 6. So 24 is more than 6. Right, so that's one of those patterns and understandings that you need to know, is that when we have fractions, even though we're multiplying, and you've probably been told anytime you multiply you get a bigger number than you started with, that our number is actually going to be less because we're looking at less of it. Okay, it's not a whole set. It's not 6 times, it's not one set of 6. It's less than a set of 6. This is less than a set of 6, and this is more than one set of 6. So you have to start thinking about that in terms of sets, and that a fraction, when that fraction is a proper fraction, is less than a whole set of that number. All right. let's look at the next thing, and we're going to kick this off. I'm going to go over a couple and then tell you what to do, and have you go off on your own and do on that work. So it says, use numbers and labeled sketches to solve the problems on this page. Show your work. Nathan participated in a 5K or 5-kilometer race. He walked 1/4 of the way. So walking, just walking, jogging 3/5 of the way. So a nice little calm run, and then ran 3/20 of the way. So now it's wondering how far he went for each thing. So it says, how many kilometers did Nathan walk? How many meters did Nathan walk? How many kilometers? How many meters? How far in kilometers? How many meters? So one thing that we also need to know here is that there are how many meters in a kilometer. So there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So if we're looking at this whole race, this 5-kilometer race, that's a 5,000 meter race. So I'm going to write that down. You should probably write that down too. 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. So let's look at this first one. How many kilometers did Nathan walk? How do we figure that out? Hopefully you saw that we have 1/4 of 5. So it says how many kilometers? 1/4. So you walked 1/4 of the way of the 5 kilometers. So how far is that? Well, repeated addition, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, 5 times, that's going to give us 5/4. Now, when we're doing a problem with distance, we probably won't say 5/4 of a kilometer because that doesn't make much sense to people. So we do need to put that down to 1 and 1/4 of a kilometer. Now, how do we go from this to this? This one is how many meters did Nathan walk? So we're going to need to multiply this number by 1,000 to get the appropriate amount of meters. Now, it's going to be harder to do that with this fraction here. I guess we could, because, well, no, let's do that. Let's do it. So this is 1 1/4 times 1,000, which equals 1 times 1,000 plus 1/4 of 1,000, which equals 1,000 plus, and what's 1/4 of 1,000? It's 250. So half of 1,000 is 500, half of that is 250, which means that he walked 1,250, well, I should have said 1,250 meters. All right, so before you do the rest of the sheet, it's front and back, I want to show you number 5 here. So number 5 is asking you to think a little backwards. So it's saying 1/4 times something is going to be 9. So 1/4 of this number is 9. Is this number going to be greater than or less than 9? Good. This is going to be greater than. Okay, so this number here is going to be bigger than the 9, because we're multiplying by a number less than 1. Okay, so there's some number out there that if we look at 1/4 of it, we're going to get 9. So think about that as you're doing that one, and again, 6 down here. All right, enjoy. And there is a challenge. Do try the challenge. Everyone always asks, do I need to do the challenge? Try it. Think about it. Bye. And again, there's a video on this one, so check your work, because when I check your work, I should not see, like I said, mistakes that have not been corrected. There we go. That's a better way to say that. Bye, everybody.